Hey people of everywhere, I'm back with my buddy Matt once again to talk about a movie that he and I have just been itching
Oh,
to talk about, like from our core
it's been aching at me for a long time.
forever, and that is Split by M. Night Shyamalan. And Shyamalan's been one of those, a lot of people gave up on him.
A lot of people have been split on him.
Oh my god. But like, especially after like Lady in the Water, The Happening,
Oof.
people just gave up. But he started to really show his comeback in The Visit, and now we have it solidified that he is here with Split. And basically what Split is there's this man, Kevin, played by James McAvoy, and that's his actual name, right? Kevin. And he has dissociative identity disorder, more commonly known as multiple personality disorder. And he kidnaps these three girls for some reason. As the movie goes on, you find out why. Now, we're going to start off with some pros of this movie, and they're quite a lot. But first, like I said, Shyamalan really comes back to what he's good at with this movie. Like, very claustrophobic shots.
I definitely think it sets it back to a smaller setting.
Yeah. It's not After Earth. It is very grounded. Yeah. It is very grounded and really just brings everything tight together.
Mm. It's mostly grounded in reality, for the most part.
Yeah, that's why I hesitated, but we'll get to that later. Excuse me. But along with M. Night Shyamalan coming back, just the shots, like I said, the cinematography. It's very claustrophobic feeling, but yet there are very wide shots. Or when the camera will go into point of view, where like you'll see Kevin talking and then it'll just switch, or just a transition into first person. It's all done very fluidly and beautifully, I thought. And that brings us back to McAvoy and Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays the lead in this movie. They did phenomenally. Like, I cannot stop raving.
McAvoy absolutely destroys in this movie.
Blows it away. I tell everybody this. The best compliment I can give about his performance in this movie is that there's one scene where he switches personalities, and without saying a word, I knew exactly which personality it was.
Yep, and I know exactly which scene you're talking about without you even having to say it. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, that's just how good it is. It's like, he didn't do a damn thing, just walk across the room, and I knew exactly which personality it was.
It is such a great job of bringing each one of them to life and giving each one of them their own characteristics and traits, and just each one of them feels like their own unique character in their own way.
Exactly, and McAvoy does incredibly. I keep messing up her name. Anya Taylor-Joy. She, ever since I saw her in The Witch, I've been like, I can't wait to see more from this girl. And she blew me away again. She
makes me want to see even more
right.
in the future.
Right. It really excited me to see more of what she is going to do.
She has a great character arc in the movie as well.
Without a doubt. You really get to see more of why, these are no spoilers yet, but why she is able to stay as calm as she is in this very terrifying situation.
And why she's able to know all the things that she knows and give the other girls that she's trapped with all these tips.
Exactly.
That she's given them.
Yeah, it explains it all. The story of it is it's done very well. And as for the DID portion of it, the dissociative identity disorder, a lot of movies, whenever it has somebody with split personalities, just like, oh, that's dangerous, oh, this person is evil. This movie does a very good job of being like, no, it's not. They are not. This is a disorder that can be helped, can be treated, and it's possibly something that we just don't know enough about yet.
It's definitely just like it's all up to the individual.
Exactly. It explains DID in a way that people who have no idea that it's even a real disorder will be able to click in and be like, okay, I get it. Right. Like, it makes sense. And before we get into the cons, there is one scene that needs to be addressed, and that is the scene where Hedwig is dancing around his room. You know what scene I'm talking about? Yeah. Like like I was just sitting there and I was like, he's going for this right now.
There's a lot of great moments in the movie, and there's a lot of great relationships in the movie. Like the relationship that Kevin has with his therapist in the movie is really authentic, and you get to see some of that. I'm not like just some of the more deep personal relationships that he has with the therapist, and just all like it has an arc that's very interesting by the end, and it just there's a very slow build up there, and you can see that she really cares for the patients, and she really goes the distance at the end of the day, and that's really going back to what you said about the message of the film, where it's
she very well portrays how a good doctor could communicate and get through to a person with a case this bad of DID. But as with any movie, there are some downsides to it. There are not nearly as many downsides as there were positives. But one thing is where I was talking about Anya Taylor-Joy's backstory. It does come in rather abrupt flashbacks. Like, some of them will come as dream sequences, but other ones will just kind of happen and just be like, oh, this is what we're doing now. Okay, cool, I guess.
It does kind of take you out of the tension that's been building rapidly throughout the movie, because it gets into the shit really quick.
Really quick, yeah. Like, you were thrown in the mix fast.
Easily within, like, the first few minutes of the movie.
Another one of the negatives is that, as we mentioned, there are two other girls who get taken with Anya Taylor-Joy, and they're not really given much room to breathe, figuratively. But they're fine for what they're given.
Right.
They're suitable, and they're rather disposable.
Right. At the end of the day, they don't really do much. They do really well with what they do, but But McAvoy and Anya Taylor-Joy's performances at the end of the day, they steal the show. They eat them up.
And the last thing that we got to get into is some portions of the ending kind of took us out of it a little bit, sort of. We will explain more of that because we are going to give our ratings and then mention some spoilers first. But without any spoilers right now, the things that kind of took us out of the movie ended up making a lot of sense, like in the last 30 seconds of the movie.
Yeah, and don't think of it as like a classic Shyamalan. Oh, the twist.
The twist, the Shyamalan twist.
I mean, it kind of is, but it's more like a reveal because it, like I said, like he said, it definitely fixes a lot of the problems that were previously had by, I think, both of us in the movie, where it was just like, really, those things that happened don't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because it was very much a grounded in reality story up until that point, I want to say.
Yeah. But, so before we get into the spoiler stuff, what would you grade this movie?
I think, to summarize it, I really think this is it's a solid film. I mean, it's M. Night Shyamalan coming back to form. I mean, what else do you want? It has great performances, a great story, and tension all throughout. And there's a couple things wrong with it, but nothing really to go home and complain about.
Yeah.
For more than a couple seconds. So, I mean, I'd give it a solid 8.
Solid 8. Yeah, I would totally agree that the pacing of it, even though it's tension throughout the whole thing, it never just sloped for me. I was in it the entire time.
Yeah.
So with all of that in mind, the very few negatives, the many positives, I'm definitely going to give this movie a solid A. And this movie was absolutely phenomenal. I tell everybody about it, and I want everybody to see it.
Oh yeah, because you've gotta see this one.
Yeah,
definitely before spoilers get out there.
Yes.
Especially.
Speaking of which, now that you know our grades, and if you're still sticking around, we need to explain this damn ending.
Yeah.
Because now, if you've been watching Shyamalan movies for a while, like both of us have, there's a little movie called Unbreakable.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what that is, it's essentially one of the most realistic and grounded superhero movies you will ever see in your life, with Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh my god, it's a fantastic movie.
And what took us out of the movie was that Kevin gets his, 24th personality, the Beast. The Beast. And he's, like, his veins are just popping out of him. His
muscles are growing. He's bending bars.
He's bending metal
taking
bars.
Shotgun blast to the chest.
Climbing up the walls like a spider. And it was just
weird stuff.
Whoa.
Where did that come from?
Right. It just came out of nowhere. And
really took me out of the movie for a second. There.
Absolutely. But then, within, like I said, the last 30 seconds, you get into this bar, like a diner, and they're talking about Kevin's character on the news, and then somebody says something like, "Oh, that reminded me of that guy that got arrested 15 years ago. What was his name?" And then I sat there and I was like, no. And
they're
then
not doing this right now.
They're not doing this to me. And then it just shows Bruce Willis and he says, Mr. Glass.
Mr. Glass.
So what this movie was the entire time, it was an origin story for the Unbreakable franchise.
A supervillain origin story.
Yeah, like, I was just like, no.
It definitely fixed any problem because it made it all make sense.
Because while the entire movie was very grounded, like Unbreakable was, there was just that one part where I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But now that I know...
I was like, Shyamalan, what are you doing, man?
Right.
You're losing.
You're losing. You're Lady in the Watering right now. But it all made so much sense when you realized Bruce Willis is going to have to take down McAvoy.
Mm-hmm.
And it is going to be epic.
It's like, it raises so many questions, because it's like, what does Anya Taylor-Joy's character have to do after this? Mm-hmm. Does she team up with Willis?
Right.
Maybe?
Like, do we see her again?
Does Mr. Glass come back and team up with McAvoy? Like, what's going to happen?
Because you're not really given any finality with Anya Taylor-Joy's character.
Yeah, there is no finite ending for really any character.
Right.
It's definitely left very open. Well, a couple of them get eaten.
Yeah, just straight up devoured, literally.
Yeah. Just they are no longer existent in human form, but in fecal form.
But anyway, if you stood around for that last part and you didn't see the movie, then you just ruined, I think, the entire experience.
Yeah.
Because this movie will just right hook out of nowhere, just knock you right out.
Like a gut punch.
Or a shotgun blast.
Kicking the ass.
But thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw here, then you can click the subscribe button down below. And I will catch you all next time. Say goodbye.
Later.
Later.